Alright, Hasis, so in this video we're going to take a look at a practical example of a really common vulnerability that people have on their servers, and that's how to crack a FTP password. So in the last tutorial we saw whenever we scan that server that they had FTP, and by the way you should never use FTP, but this server, they have that port open. Now since it's open, that means that if they can log into it, then we can log into it. So let me clear out there and check this out. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to search FTP, and you can just search that keyword right there and it's going to give you a bunch of exploits related to FTP. But I actually know that I'm looking for FTP login. So this is going to pull up this exploit right here, and it's FTP authentication scanner. So let me copy this, and I just want some more info about it. And alright, so what is this module? It lets you, this is what I'm reading by the way, this module will test FTP logins on a range of machine, but we're only going to be testing one, not a big deal. And we're basically going to be giving it a bunch of different passwords, and we're just going to run through them all, and whenever one works, then it's going to say, dun, 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 there you go, those are the credentials. So let me clear out of there, and alright, that exploit looks pretty cool, so I'm just going to write use FTP login. And alright, so what info do you need to work? So show options, hit enter, and holy sweet tamale, what's going on here? So it gives us a bunch of information that it it doesn't need all of these, but this is the other stuff that you can put in. Now this is what I was talking about in the last tutorial. You see how it says that a lot of these parameters, they aren't required, but they're optional. So for example, if you were testing one of these things, then you could add it. If not, then you don't need to. I'll show you guys the information that you actually do need. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to set our host, and that's just the IP address of the server that you want to test. Now remember, mine was 45.55.248.208. Alright, now another thing that you want to do is you just want to set the threads. So this is pretty much up to you how fast or how many multiple processes do you want running at a time. I'm just going to bump it up to 30. I don't even know what the default was. I think it was like 25 or something. But yeah, it just runs a little bit faster the more you have. And another thing that you can do is you can actually set the username to root. Now what you can do is if you don't know the username or you think that they have a different username, then you can add, you can actually scan through a list of files. Let me show you guys something. So if I go to usernames, you can like scan through a bunch of different usernames. Like I'm going to try root, then admin, then test, then guest, then info, yada yada, all those ones. But I'm just going to try one username in this case. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through a list of passwords. So I'm going to look for root. I assume that that's the username. And I'm going to try every one of these passwords. So that password list that I have right here, you can get on my GitHub page, link below. Or there's a bunch of different password lists that you can find online. But yeah, password lists are definitely a handy thing to have whenever you're penetration testing. But for right now, I'm just going to set the username is root, hit enter, and the next thing I want to do is I want to set that pass_file. File, boom roasted. Alright, so hopefully I can remember the path of that. Desktop, security, list, passwords, top 1000.txt. Look at that. So now let me clear out of here. And now let me show options again. And alright. So by the way, this usually doesn't look as jumbled as it does right now. I just had to, like I said, bump up the text a lot so it displays, so you guys can actually read it on YouTube. But it's usually a little bit neater if you guys couldn't tell. So now that we have everything set, all we need to do is write exploit and hit enter. So what this does is it's going to go through and it's going to start trying to log in. So the password is going to be root for everyone, and now it's trying or excuse me, the username is going to be root, and then it's going to try this password, 1234556. What about the password? What about the password this? What about the password QWERTY? Boom, boom, boom. There you go. Now, I don't feel like sitting here and waiting, and I'm sure you guys don't. So if you ever want to stop it, you can hold down Control C. But if you're actually running this attack, then you would, of course, want to let it run. But there you go. And whenever it hits one that's correct, then it's going to pop up as green, I believe, and it's going to say correct, and then the tool is going to stop for you. So what you could do is just let this run before you go to bed and wake up in the morning, and boom, you got the password. But let me clear out of there, and that's all there is to that. So again, make sure you have a nice long password list. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time, so you may want to do it before you go out to eat or go to bed, whatever. But that is that tool of how to find the FTP login for a server if they have the FTP port open. So in the next tutorial, I'll show you guys an example of something else cool that you can do. What it is, I don't know. Don't really plan these things out. But there you go. Thank you guys for watching. I will smell you next time.